Hold on, hold on, keep your hand on the plow. Hold on. Wanna get to heaven, Mama tell you how. Keep that hand on the gospel plow. Just keep that hand on the plow. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
During the colonial period, the first blacks noted in New Jersey came as slaves. Later, the Revolutionary War helped liberate many New Jersey slaves, and others joined the New Jersey Militia or Continental Army and were set free. So by 1790, about 20% of the New Jersey's approximately 14,000 black population were free. Eventually, the state passed a law in 1804 that established a system of gradual emancipation. This system actually allowed slavery to continue down to the 1860s, making New Jersey the last northern state to enact legislation abolishing slavery. New Jersey is also identified with the Underground Railroad's two most celebrated figures, Harriet Tubman and William Still. Tubman was a fearless conductor, guiding hundreds of fugitives to freedom. Still was a New Jerseyan who was both the most important Underground Railroad operative in Philadelphia and the author of the 1872 classic, The Underground Railroad. Private homes were often used to house fugitive slaves along the route for the Underground Railroad. Notably, the Edgewater at Croft Farm, the Elijah Barclow House, the Dr. George Haynes House, and the Enoch Middleton House were among those that served this purpose. No other northern state exceeded New Jersey in the number of all-black communities that served as Underground Railroad sanctuaries for Southern fugitive slaves. These communities began as settlements of emancipated blacks, and the majority were found in South Jersey and along Underground Railroad routes. World War I set in motion the Great Migration, and the Afro-Americans, lured mainly by the prospect of better-paying jobs, who arrived during that time, laid the foundation for the state's black ghettos. Economic advancement did not necessarily free African Americans from confinement to black residential areas, and when they moved into previously all-white areas, those areas invariably turned black. This gave rise to many new institutions and organizations that were essential to the survival and integrity of ghetto communities. The storefront church appeared with a unique religious style that appealed to many migrants. As the ghettos grew, more African Americans were able to heed the old adage exhortations of black leaders and newspapers to go into business for themselves. Sarah Spencer Washington became one of New Jersey's first black millionaires. Her company, Apex Beauty Products Company in Atlantic City, a hair cosmetics firm, was the largest and most significant of New Jersey black-owned businesses during this period. It was established in 1919, and by 1930, its Atlantic City office and factory had 87 employees, including chemists, clerks, bookkeepers, chauffeurs, and beauty operators. At the 1939 World's Fair in New York, Washington was honored as a most distinguished businesswoman. Paul Robeson attended Rutgers University in 1915 to add to the ranks of black professionals in New Jersey. He graduated in 1919, giving the valedictorian address, and proceeded on to Columbia Law School. Robeson worked briefly as a lawyer, but he renounced a career in law due to widespread racism. He then, in 1925, started performing in plays and concerts, singing black spirituals. In the 1940s, he began to openly speak out against discrimination, even at the risk of his career. Social and recreational institutions also continue to grow rapidly. In most instances, these organizations provided the only significant opportunity for group expression aside from church. One example is the New Jersey State Federation of Colored Women's Clubs, which was founded by Florence Spearing Randolph in 1915. Newark's black population was large enough to establish and sustain other institutions in the face of discrimination, such as the Community Hospital of Newark and the National Theater of Newark. By 1937, as blacks shifted to the Democratic Party because of the reforms made in the New Deal, Guy Moorhead of Newark became the first black Democrat to serve in the state assembly. followed by Assemblywoman Madeline A. Williams of East Orange, who years later, in 1957, was the first black woman elected to the legislature. Blacks began to occupy high and powerful political posts. A notable example was Kenneth Gibson, who in 1970 was elected the first black mayor of Newark. 3 years later, the Reverend S. Howard Woodson Jr. became the first black Speaker of the State Assembly, leading the way for others to assume political authority and responsibility. As we look at the recent history of New Jersey, we will find that there are a number of areas where African Americans have made a significant impact. This stretches a broad spectrum, ranging from politics to popular music, from the world of sports to education, from the performing arts to business. Names like Cory Booker and Sheila Oliver in the political arena, Whitney Houston, Clarence Clemens, and Queen Latifah in the music industry, Shaquille O'Neal and Joetta Clark Diggs in the world of sports, educators Eddie Glaude Jr. and Commissioner Lamont Revelette, actors Avery Brooks and Keisha Knight Pullman, executives Carla Harris and John Harrison, and the list goes on and on. Recognition of these incredible people, these significant places, and truly notable events makes African American history in New Jersey an important piece of the history of our country.